It's daybreak on the Rise News. Time for the press preview. First look at what's on the front pages as they arrive. Let's begin with this day. And the front page there, it's leading with the politics. Tinubu says he will be president of all Nigerians, fair and just, if he is elected next year. Other headlines: you cannot bully free press, silence media. And that's the statement from this day Rise editors, and they're sending this one out to Alake and Onanuga. Of course, we will be touching more of this in the press preview. Let's move on over now to the Punch newspaper. Withdrawal limits will cripple campaign funding. That's according to political parties, and the parties have written to the CBN for a waiver. Moving on, 439 foreign trained doctors failed assessment exam. Okay, the ministry revealed that. I cannot understand Boko Haram phenomenon. That's according to Atiku, the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party. And NPC raises major oil marketers from 7 to 27. And 33 states lack landfills, dispose waste openly. That's according to a recent report. You want to read about that, you can pick up the Punch, page 36. It's a quick look at the Nation newspaper now. It's leading with the politics in the PDP. Wike says same faith, not reason to dump South's candidate. Same faith, not reason to dump the South's candidate. Tinubu Shatima ticket will be fair to all. Well, I'll reset the economy for faster growth. That's according to Tinubu. Nobody can split G5 allies. That's according to Bode George, a chieftain of the PDP. And the electoral body INEC begins PVC distribution today. The Daily Sun newspaper. Tinubu Atiku fight dirty. He will destroy Nigeria, the APC candidate warns. And the PDP candidate hits back, says you are not fit to rule Nigeria. There's no going back on Obi. That's for the Middle Belt Forum. Obasanjo, Adebanjo, Obi extol Modo at 70. Let's have a look at The Guardian. Foreign airlines retain 200% high fares. Stranded fund hits $551 million. In the leadership, 2023, Tinubu hits back at Atiku over Security Watch comment. Presidency Committee differ on trapped 89.09 trillion naira stamp duties. And as we all know, we got a report earlier, President Muhammadu Buhari is now in Washington, D.C. ahead of that U.S. Africa Leaders Summit. Let's take a look at the Financial Times. Storm chasing bright outlook for forecasters. In the UK, 2 MEPs held as Qatari corruption scandal shakes European Parliament. Okay, this is from the EU. And a Belgian judge has also been charged along with 4 people. The Guardian, Tories under fire over plans for military to act as strike breakers. And hopes raised for last-ditch talks to stop nurses' strike. That's in the I-paper. And for the press preview, let's bring in Emmanuel Bello. Good morning, Emmanuel. Good to have you on the show. Of course, the This Day newspaper is, of course, always leading. So the presidential candidates are being hitting at each other. But I want to focus on the editorial from This Day newspaper. It's a joint statement of the boards of editors of This Day newspapers and the Arise News channel. It says Tinubu and This Day Arise Media Group and the attack on free speech. Emmanuel, you've read a bit of this. What's it saying?
Well, quite a lot, and I think you have to commend the THISDAY group for restraining itself to this period or to this point in releasing this kind of really strong statement where it's not just defending its own itself, but actually probably the bigger picture is defending free speech and the kind of job we do, and the fact that we can be gagged, the fact that we can be told what to say, and that in a democracy, free speech and the free press is actually a very, very major plank of that democracy is standing on. So when you choose to gag it, then your claims to democracy is wrong. So this day is coming out very clearly to now say that, look, it's been targeted, especially by the APC campaign, and it gave various examples of such attacks. Sometimes even name calling, they've dragged the chairman of the network of the company, Nduka Obiagbe and Prince Nduka Obiagbe, they've dragged this name into this. And this day, in this letter, is saying that look, we didn't want to actually find ourselves enmeshed in the crisis of the parties or become part of the issue, because I mean, in reporting these things, we need to find ways of standing or staying away from it, to be aloof from it and report it. But when we become part and parcel of the story, it becomes another thing. So this day has actually resisted the temptation of replying. I remember Kenneth when Tinubu said that, look, one of the reasons he didn't come for the Arise town hall was that he didn't want to make money for the network. That was, a lot of people saw that as a direct swipe, as a direct attack on this network, and of course the record of the newspaper, actually saying that it's biased. But this day is saying, look, we don't do that. Our editorial policy has never, there was never a time we sat somewhere in some part of our offices to say this is the editorial direction we're going, and we've been fair to all. And in fairness, and it's not just because Kenneth we work here or we do the kind of, we're on this platform. The truth is that the THISDAY newspaper has actually tried its best to be really, really unbiased in providing the platform. The lead story today, for instance, is another good example of what the THISDAY does, saying, giving equal opportunity, equal room for everyone to say that. And we've seen a lot of people have actually commended THISDAY for being professional enough to give the platform for everyone. And those town halls were actually open to everyone. I think the APC campaign says they were going to pick and choose the kind of platform Tinubu was going to speak on. And I mean, their presidential candidate was going to be. So you can't blame a network for saying, okay, well, we're inviting everyone, and there's nothing biased about it in reporting. And a very interesting aspect of this retort from this day, for instance, saying that, look, the APC have actually demanded the resignation or the sacking of certain staff, some of our colleagues, Rufai, for instance, saying that they should be sacked. And in this letter, this day saying that, look, we do not sack our reporters or our editors for their opinion. Facts are sacred, but when it comes to their opinion, we allow them to air their mind. I mean, that's the foundation of our business. Ended it up with that powerful quote from Usman Danfodio that, conscience is an open wound and only truth can heal it. I think that's the slogan for the Gadget newspaper too, that Usman Danfodio said that, look, almost a word for the open free press. So this actually, this morning, a very strong stand for free speech, the free press, and of course, the freedom of the media as a major plank to what we call democracy.
Emmanuel, this political soundtrack about debates, some would say it's becoming boring, and perhaps we should just move on, that some candidates who don't attend debates, they end up winning elections. Perhaps we could make it easier for everyone. The world is changing, the country is changing. There are so many young people who didn't vote years ago, they can now vote, and they want to hear from you. Perhaps the lawmakers, the National Assembly now has a role to play in this. Why don't we enshrine this particular soundtrack into the Constitution to have candidates step up and debate?
Well, I think you can only, invite people to actually provide them. So, I mean, Kenneth, we've said this, we've discussed this again and again, that actually elsewhere in the world, politicians actually seek out for this kind of platforms. They don't run from them. They seek them out. They even create opportunities to be able to talk. There's something a bit funny if when a politician is saying, look, I don't want to talk to the people. I don't want to talk to them about my dreams, my aspiration, my views, my manifesto, and all of that. And that's why a lot of people worry that, for instance, the APC candidate could choose freely to go talk to the BBC in London and actually have conversation in Chatham House and all of that, and yet will not honor invitations back home. And they say charity begins at home, that why not do it back home? And I think when you look at the legal side of it, I think it's actually already enshrined in the Constitution, because it's one of the roles of the press to be able to independently seek the views of politicians. It's one of the rules enshrined in the kind of job that the press is allowed to do, which is to critique, to fact check, to question, to go right to the heart of anything and everything that the people seeking to rule us have got to say. And it's fair game too, because I mean, they are now public property, so to speak. So nothing about them is hidden anymore. Their family, their age, who they are, what they do, their past record and everything. It's very important that all that is cross-check and check, because I mean, this is someone that is going to have, you know, a lot of amazing, enormous power over the lives of millions of people, and not just in Nigeria, but at the continental level. So it's very important that we fact check on everything, every claims, whether that is that of age or that of past record, or even some of the things that are. So, but when your life is shrouded in secrecy and you seem to be giving the impression that you've got things to hide, and you are scared of scrutiny, and you don't want to be in the open glare of, you know, public light and all of that. Don't blame the media or don't blame Nigerians when they begin to say, look, if you have something to hide, it means we're not safe with you. So a campaign will make itself more relevant if, or rather, will be taken more seriously when they afford the electorate enough opportunity to question them, to check on what they are claiming. But the idea of hiding, and if you give the impression that you've got something to hide and you're not ready for openness, for scrutiny, for transparency, if your campaign does that, people will wonder whether the government, because a government cannot be bigger or greater than the kind of campaign it runs. So we begin to get a taste, an idea of how you are going to govern from the way you campaign.
Of course, Emmanuel, other candidates have been taking the opportunity to speak to the media. The Labour Party presidential candidate is being about town this past weekend. He was in Ibadan. He met with the Olubadan of Ibadan and then back to Anambra State. And the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar, was in Abuja for his campaign rally on Saturday. And he has been speaking to the media. He was at another station at that meeting, he seemed to walk back comments he made a while ago. He went on to condemn the murder of a Christian young girl who was killed for blasphemy up north. Things are getting heated, aren't they?
Yes, they are, and these platforms and these meetings and these town halls and these TV appearances, Kenneth, are giving us an insight into the candidates, what they are thinking, how they're even thinking them out. And like you say, the kind of back and forth or the walking back, like Atiku clearly was taking strongly on that whole tweet, deleting that tweet he did as soon as Deborah was attacked. So, he needed to be picked on that because a lot of people questioned his sincerity and his decency and his commitment to fairness when he did that delete. That unfortunately, but then he tried to explain it, walk it back like you noted, and so many issues like that. Yes, it's getting heated. The Atiku camp, for instance, now is questioning even the ability of Tinubu to run this country. They are questioning his capacity and his. Frank Shaibu writing yesterday say that, look, tell us more about your wealth, the source of your wealth. Remember, Tinubu the other day he got all his money from real estate, but Atiku camp questioning him and saying that, look, you have to come out more clean on that. So we are beginning to see a lot of back and forth. And Kenneth, I don't know if you noticed, but it's now becoming a Atiku tirade all the time, and it's getting more interesting. But a lot of people want to hear more of how they plan to solve some of this problem beyond the back and forth. It's doubtful now, like you noted earlier, if anything is shifting grounds. It appears supporters of both sides have already made up their mind on how to go. If you question the integrity of Tinubu, not so many people, especially some of his diehard supporters, care about that. They couldn't be bothered about some of those things about his character or his past or his record or even his competence. People have questioned his age. It's amazing that you will see people still saying, like, in spite of all of that, we want to still vote for him. But it's good that you have this full disclosure, and that is what the campaigns are trying to say now, in checking out the other candidate and saying, let us look at him critically speaking, and look at what he has to offer and what he's been saying in the past and what he has saying, what he's saying now. So that sort of juxtapositioning of your position one time and whether it has shifted now is also, a pointer to your character. whether you are into flip-flops or you are into just walking back and making U-turns suddenly. It's all part of the leadership debate and checking on the character and the persons of these people that seek to rule us.
You speak of flip-flops, Emmanuel. There's a governor that this day has referred to as one who likes to flip-flop, and he's saying retaining the presidency in the north is as bad as a Muslim ticket. That's the Governor Nyesom Wike of Rivers State. Apparently he's not backing the Muslim ticket, and he doesn't want the ticket in the north either. And in the leadership newspaper, the Center for Promotion of Sharia has also rejected the Muslim ticket.
Well, yes, I mean, this will not just go away. And you are beginning to even hear, very strong voices from the region that you thought we actually probably just support the Muslim ticket. And I'm talking of the North. You have professional yesterday who sat and said, look, they're rejecting anything to do with same-faith ticket, because this has actually generated, a lot of excitement and a lot of friction since the day it was announced, which is the fact that a lot of people say that it does not reflect very well who we are as a people, and that it's going to actually limit the participation and, of course, the kind of impression that the whole world will have about. And Wike now, Governor Wike, is actually weighing on that so strongly, and saying that he's comparing the Muslim ticket to what he think power retains in the north. So what does that tell you about his choices now? He's saying that, look, it's a case of between a hard place and a rocky place, and that it's not, there's no difference. That if you're going to be the unifier, like Atiku calls himself, and you're going to be the one that's going to unite the country, then you must think about the fairness and the justice that says power should shift to the south. But at the same time, he's saying that, look, he's rejecting the Muslim ticket. So clearly, he's not with the APC and he's not with the PDP.
So that leaves him with which party then?
Exactly. He hasn't said. Seems as if, to me, it seems as if Wike is indeed now a what they call internally displaced politicians, people that don't really belong to a certain place. Because back in his state, he's working tirelessly for the PDP. And he's saying that, look, he wants the PDP to win. Then the mixed messages are that, look, he's not going to do PDP at the national level. So that leaves him in a place where people are listening to him and wondering, okay, so you don't want us to vote for the presidency, but you want us to do the governor. It could hurt him in the long run. But again, this is politics, and there's time to make, to rectify some of all of that. But as it is, you have people still rejecting the Muslim ticket, and like I say, Kenneth, some of the strong voices coming even from the north saying that, look, we need something that is a bit more balanced, something that reflects us more, and that this is bound to exclude, to look like an exclusion kind of a thing, that the ticket does not really present to us the kind of diversity and the multi-plurality of our society. So that's another thing that is, the APC, we have to contend with. And even this late in the campaign, the issue of the Muslim ticket does not seem to be going away.
Interesting how the formation is shaping up ahead of the election next year. It's 13 days to Christmas, and there's still petrol queues around. I wish we could talk about that, but we've run out of time, Emmanuel. Thank you so much. That's the press preview. Let's hear your views. Follow us on Twitter @AriseTV. You can follow with the hashtag AriseDaybreak.